he scores! Sean Kearns pumps the Golden Knights jersey to the Castleman bench. He's given the Golden Knights a 3-2 lead.
Over. Dubois, left side, back in front. Carroll on the bucket. He scores!
Wow, what a pass by Emilius to Carroll.
Ryan Carroll. And here is a 3-on-1 for the Golden Knights. Brown right side. Holding. Shoots. He scores! 17.
Davide DeCipio with Mason Dietrich, and we welcome a new face to the Ottawa West Golden Knights broadcast booth. It's Liam Arkinson. As we take a look at this playoff preview between the Ottawa West Golden Knights and the Castleman Vikings for the fourth time in the last 5 seasons. Mason, the Ottawa West Golden Knights last year went 29-13-2. This year, 36-6-2, improving their point total by 14. And it was the top line of Noah Hames, Jack Hames, and Sean Kearns. That Sean Kearns named the first-team All-Star, Jack Hames named a second-team All-Star, and another name to an All-Star team was Sam Brown. We'll get to that in just a minute, but the top line did a lot of damage here this season.
And they did. They used to play with each other back at the Ottawa Sting days and build that chemistry to this season. Sean Kearns, 74 points, Jack Hames, 60-plus season, and Noah Hames also a 60-plus season for him. Those guys did really good up front, even on the power play, penalty kill, and 5-on-5.
For the Ottawa West Golden Knights in the offseason, Liam, they needed to address two things. Retool the back end, and they went out and acquired Geronimo White Duck, Adam Watson, Justin Graham, and Nicholas McFarland to add to the depth alongside Sam Brown. But another thing they needed to assess was in goal. And they went out and acquired Brent Pledge-Dixon for Marco Haw and Noah Weatherall from the Winchester Hawks, and also added 0-2 stud netminder in Will McAvoy, who was cut from the Brockville Braves. But another thing, Liam, was that Pledge-Dixon, October's goaltender of the month. McAvoy was November's goaltender of the month, and also February's rookie of the month. You can't ask for much more if you're Steve Sundin.
No, you can't. Both goalies were amazing for Ottawa West. Pledge-Dixon putting up big numbers, as well as McAvoy. I think Pledge-Dixon was 5th in the league for wins. McAvoy was 3rd in the league. And when you have goalies that can put up those type of numbers, you're going to have a successful team and a good defense on the back end.
Antonio Solano was another name that was acquired at the CCHL Tier 2 trade deadline from the Perth Blue Wings that sent a PDF to Mike McLean and the Perth Blue Wings. Meanwhile, for Will McAvoy, went 19-1, a 16-game win streak to end the season. Meanwhile, Brent Pledge-Dixon went 17-5-2 with his first year with the Ottawa West Golden Knights, and Steve Sundin couldn't have asked for more from his top line and his retooling on defense and in goal.
All right, Steve, we're here again. Ottawa West and Castleman. What do we expect here in the 2020 version of this lengthy rivalry?
This is 4 of the last 5 years, I think. Hey, guys, they play us tough. They're well coached. They're a playoff team, and they've proven that in the past. And they looked good last night against Winchester. Winchester was really outmanned. I thought Winchester played well, but just not well enough. Castleman's, they're a very dynamite. They score a lot of goals. Campbell's a great goalie. It'll be a tough series. I think it'll go deep. It'll go long. I think we're a better team than we were last year. So, I think that it should be a great series.
Do you feel like your top line, having another year of junior hockey under their belt? I know Jack Hames is in his first year of junior hockey, but they really carried your offense all season long, and a couple of them are named All-Stars. How big do you think that could be in this playoff series?
Well, our big line has to play well. There's no two ways about it. And they're our power play too. We've got to capitalize on the power play. We got to take advantage. We've done well. We're 27% this year, so we've got to keep that going. The power play is important. They're not calling a lot of penalties, which is nice. But they're not only do we need them. I need the secondary scoring. I need the Galavans, Edwards, Melios, Brushy, Keon. I need everybody. We need everybody. Clay Byers has come along a long way. He's really now, I think, in good shape. Our fourth line was going to be Goulet, Carroll, and Polano. So that's a pretty good fourth line. You know, they're anybody else's team. They're second, third line, first line maybe. So like we've got four lines. We're going to come at us. I like our defense. I think we're the healthiest we have been all year, which is really important in the playoffs. And our goaltending has been spectacular this year. You know, and that's why we went and got Pledge Dixon. Willie's played, awesome. So if something happens, we can put Willie in there. I'm just as confident.
And you talk about that. That's my next point here. A big thing for you guys in the offseason was retooling your defense and upgrading your goaltending. Do you feel like you got what you asked for here this season?
Yeah, absolutely. Sammy Brown, to me, was the best defenseman in the league. I felt that he came, he had 31 points. Him and McFarland, McFarland played with the Sting last year, stepped right in right away in there our time. Bobby Dempster's played strong, and the addition of White Duck, he's tough, he's smart, he's in fantastic shape. He can go all night. And Justin Graham has been a huge surprise, and I think Adam Watson has come a long way in the last month of getting to play good hockey. So I'm really confident of our 60.
You guys won a franchise record 11 straight on the road to end off the regular season, and you guys have only won 3 times in the J.R. Brisson complex since the 16-17 season, including playoffs. Do you feel like that road warrior mentality could be huge, even though you guys have home ice?
Well, I'd like to win one there. I mean, they're extremely tough at home. They know that barn really well, and but I thought we played the last game in there. I think it was the 3-2 game. I thought we played really well. We kept their shots down. I think Willie was in nets.
Yep.
McAvoy was in nets, and he played well. I honestly, to your question before, the addition of Pledge Dixon was huge for us. We needed to get a goaltender, that number one stopper, a 19-year-old, and he's answered the bell. We've had 4 or 5 practices, and he's looked really good at practice. So I'm really confident that he can carry the load for us.
The Ottawa West Golden Knights had a 12-game win streak, was a CCHL Tier 2 high from October until early December. And Mason, they got a lot of depth scoring with the reacquisitions of Sam Edwards, bringing in Clay Byers, and another big piece who missed a lot of the season due to injury, but Ryan Carroll was huge for the Ottawa West Golden Knights.
Carroll scored some big goals down the way between September to November, had an upper body injury that kept him out of the lineup for 2 months. Once he came back in, scored, and then had that upper body injury. They had to keep him out for the regular season to get him ready for the playoffs. But Melios, Galvin provided a lot of the depth scoring. Galvin had about 25 goals last year, only 17 this year, but it's still a really good stat to really show from him.
Steph Melios talks about his second year as an Ottawa West Golden Knight.
All right, Steph, your second playoff run here in CCHL Tier 2, but this time you're the higher seed and had a couple of weeks off. How are you going to use that to your advantage?
Yeah, we've been in a bit of a boot camp with Steve recently, getting a couple of skates every practice. And, we're playing Cass in the first round, so just maybe use our intensity in the season and into the game one.
You're one of the key pieces in providing that secondary scoring. How do you see that transferring into the playoffs?
Yeah, I think our line's working well with Galvin and Edwards. Just got to get good chemistry and keep it going.
Road Warriors. That was a key theme to this Ottawa West Golden Knights team as they went 19-2-1 away from the Barbara Ann Scott Arena. And when you've only won 3 times at the J.R. Brisson complex since the start of the 2016-17 season, including playoffs against the Castleman Vikings, and you have home ice, you need to win games on the road here for the Ottawa West Golden Knights in this playoff series, Liam. And Noah Hames will talk about in just a minute, but they need to play some good hockey away from home.
Yeah, away games are going to be key here for Ottawa West. They have home ice advantage, but they have to go and steal some at the J.R. Brisson complex. Only winning 3 since 2016 at the J.R. Brisson. That's not a good stat for Ottawa West, and they're going to have to change that here if they want to go on to the next round of the CCHL 2 playoffs.
Here's the captain, Noah Hames, who has a lot of experience in playing the Castleman Vikings.
All right, Noah, we stood in this exact same spot last year in a playoff preview. You're in your final playoff run in your junior career.
and the importance of playing on the road. You guys have only won 3 times at the J.R. Brisson Complex since the 16-17 season. Once this year. How are you going to take that and reverse fortunes here?
Well, going in, we know what kind of team they are. They're a tough team. Really fast-paced, got good condition too, but we got a strong team ourselves. We've had a couple weeks off, which is real nice, so we got a little break, and we've been working real hard though, so not too much of a break, and ready to go. I'm real excited.
You guys won a franchise record 11 straight away from the Barbara Ann Scott Arena to end off the regular season. What made this team so good away from home?
Away from home, honestly, I feel like all their games are pretty much like a real close game, honestly. And we had a real good team this year, and we're ready to go.
Defense was a big key here for the Golden Knights this season, as they gave up the second least amount of goals behind the Embrun Panthers in the 2019-2020 CCHL2 regular season. And when you have one returning guy on the back end in Sam Brown Mason, a lot of new faces, but there's a lot of chemistry between these players, and Sam Brown saw his offensive numbers skyrocket this year.
Let's look at last year, Davide. Sam Brown, a total of 8 assists in his first season with the Golden Knights. This year, 20-plus point season, a big improvement from last year. 6 goals this year, his first 6 goals in the CCHL Tier 2. His first one came on the road back in October against the Tikis. He was tremendous on the back end, one of their top defense this season.
And let's hear from Sam Brown.
All right, Sam, your second ride in the playoffs, but this year it's a much different looking defensive core. What was the difference between last year to this year, you being the lone returner on that back end?
Yeah, well, we had some good guys last year, some good bets, but this year, we got a young back end here, a lot of skill, 1 through 6, so really confident in those guys back there.
Now, you took on a leadership role here this year, and you went from 8 assists to 20-plus points in your second year in the league. What was the key to your offensive touch?
Yeah, no, really playing the game healthy this year. Had a few injuries last year, but it was good to be back, playing with a really skilled group this year. So keeping it clean on the defensive end, and then just picking it up and putting that effort in up front, gave me a little bump there.
Now you're named to the defensive second team All-Star. What does that mean to you?
Oh, it's good, but it's nice to be named there. I appreciate it, but we're really after the championship. Yeah.
All right, boys, let's take a look at this playoff series. The Golden Knights and the Vikings are facing each other for the 4th time in the last 5 years. Also for the Ottawa West Golden Knights, they're looking to win their first playoff series since they beat the Clarence Beavers in 7 games in the Martin Division semifinal back in the 2016-17 season. And Miguel Daoust was the goaltender for the Clarence Beavers. He's now the goaltending coach with the Ottawa West Golden Knights. But Castleman has had Ottawa West's number, guys, in really everywhere, including playoffs and regular season. But it was the Golden Knights winning the season series 3-1, dropping the opening game 6-3, and then winning 3 straight by scores of 5-2, 3-2, and 7-6 in overtime against the Vikings this season. We're up for a good series here.
It's going to be a really good series, but I feel like for the Golden Knights, the first 2 games are going to be really key. They haven't been able to win either Game 1 or Game 2 against Castleman throughout the 4 meetings in the playoffs. And for the Ottawa West Golden Knights, these 2 games are really important, because if they can't win those 2, they're going to be in a lot of trouble heading into Game 3. So for the Golden Knights, they're going to need to get off to a quick start to start the series.
Something else of note here, the Castleman Vikings weren't the 2 or 3 seed this year. They were the 4th seed and had to take on the Winchester Hawks in the CCHL Tier 2 Martin Division wild card series, sweeping that 2-0 over the Hawks. But Liam, the Golden Knights are 2 weeks rested. The Vikings have played some hockey, so can we expect a fatigued Vikings team?
You could say that. It was 2 tough games that Castleman played against Winchester, and they're going to have a little bit of rest here until Monday to recuperate and come hard against Ottawa West. But Ottawa West has been putting in a lot of work here in the 2 weeks that they've had off, putting in 8 hours of practice and just working on all the things that they needed to perfect to be able to play against this Castleman team.
Castleman Vikings assistant coach Jeff Seguin talks about the hype around this series.
Well, it came way before Castleman came into the league. Ottawa West actually date back when our GM Ray Laverne was coaching down in Alexandria, and they had their tilts beforehand, and it just kept going once Castleman got their franchise with Mr. Laverne.
All right, so now let's talk more about this series. You have been in this position before. This is the 4th time in the last 5 years that Castleman and Ottawa West has faced off in this series. What are some of the keys to victory against the Golden Knights? I know you guys have won all those 4 series in the last 5 years.
Well, it'll be a bit different. We don't have the scoring power that we used to have. We're not the run-and-gun team that we used to have. And on the other side of the note, they seem to be the team that does have that scoring punch. They're the top seed, and we are underdogs, so we're going to have to claw for every little inch.
Game 1 of the Martin Division semifinal between the Golden Knights and Vikings goes here at the Barbara Ann Scott Arena on Monday. A 7:20 face-off. Game 2 will be a 7:30 puck drop at the J.R. Brisson Complex in Castleman. Game 3 back here on Thursday, a 7:20 face-off. Game 4 in Castleman on Sunday at 7:30. And then Game 5 will be here on the Monday. Game 6 in Castleman on the Thursday. And Game 7 here at the Barbara Ann Scott Arena. We will see you in the rink for the Golden Knights playoff run, for this Golden Knights season recap and playoff preview. For Mason Dietrich, Liam Arkinson, I'm Davide DeCipio.